right, today what we're going to do is we're going to look at variables on both sides of our equation. So we've done two-step equations, we've done tiles writing into two-step equations, and now what we're going to do is write, we're going to use algebra tiles here in a minute, but first thing you need to learn is how to deal with something where you have a variable on both sides. So here we have our equation, but here we have our variable on both sides of our equation. So the whole thing is that we still want to narrow it down to just the variable on one side and set equal there. So here, we're going to draw our line, and we're going to move things around on here. But what we do to one side, we do to the other. So we're going to kind of manipulate this problem. All right, so what I want to do is, first thing is I want to get this over here with this. I normally start with my variable. I could start with moving this over here if I wanted to, and I almost always take my variable to my left side. It's what I'm most comfortable with. So that's how I work the problem. As you go through this, you'll get comfortable with however you do it, but remember, it's got to be mathematically sound. What you do to one side, you do to the other, and it has to work. Okay, so here, I'm going to move this 3c over here. So minus 3c minus 3c. And now I line it up underneath that other variable because I know what I'm really doing is combining like terms here, and so I'm going to subtract this out. That's what I'm going to do. It could also look like this, plus negative 3c, plus negative 3c, which is probably what I prefer, but it's the same thing. So here, cancel those out. Here, 4c plus negative 3c. Again, I'm combining like terms here is what I'm doing. Gets me c plus 6 equals 2. Now notice, I took one step and then rewrote it. That's exactly what you're going to do. One step, rewrite. Okay, now, once I'm here, I'm really into a one-step equation. All right? Plus a negative 6, plus a negative 6, gets me c equals, this cancels out, equals a positive plus a negative, subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. So, negative 4, because that negative 6 is bigger than that too. So c equals negative 4. Now, if you want to check, which I strongly suggest you do, is you take this negative 4 and you substitute it in for c here and c here, and see if it comes out to the same thing. So I'm going to I think I want to show you what that kind of looks like here. So 4 times negative 4 plus 6 equals 3 4 plus 2. That's what that looks like. Now, I put these in parentheses so to show that multiplication, because otherwise it would look like 4 minus 4. Okay, so I went ahead and substituted it in there just so that you could see what's going on here. So 4 times 4, 16 plus 6 equals, and now I'm doing one step and rewriting it. So I did one step here, 12 plus 2, negative 16 plus 6 gets me negative 10 equals negative 10. This side is set equal to that side. This is a good answer. That's what that looks like. Okay, so before I plugged in my answers in to get more math, I'm probably going to do this just to make sure, because I don't want to do more problems than I have to. And if these don't come out the same, I got a wrong answer here. So watch that. All right. Another problem, same thing. I want to get all of my variable over to the same side because I'm solving for this x. So 3x, so plus negative 3x, it's the opposite of it. These cancel out, okay? And here I have combined like terms, 2x, a positive plus a negative, 2x, minus 2 equals a positive 2 here. Ooh. No, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, so click, click. Plus 2, plus 2. Again, now I'm into, this is going to take multiple steps. Okay, so these cancel out. I have 2x left equals 4. And now here I'm into the one-step equation. 2 times x, divide by 2, x equals 2. And again, take this, substitute it into there, check your answer. Notice when I work down, comes down to tornado, same thing over here, comes down to, keeps getting smaller as we work, okay? As these aren't that bad if you know how to do two-step equations, you know how to combine like terms, you watch your sign rules, you should be good, okay? All right, so we're gonna do this one, then we're gonna go to the board over there and deal with some algebra tiles. So again, draw your line. Now this is a negative x. Well, what's in front of that x? It's really just a negative 1x. Well, I want to move all this over here, then I want to move this over here. So, plus 1x plus 1x. Okay, these cancel out and leave me with just negative 5. Remember, this goes with this. So negative 5. 5 plus 1, 6x plus 7 equals negative 5. Okay? Did one step, rewrote my problem. Now, keep going. Here's my variable. This is further away, so I'm going to deal with this. Plus 7, so plus negative 7, plus negative 7. This cancels out. Okay? All I have left is this 6x over here, positive 6x, equals, now I've got a negative plus a negative. They have the same sign. Add them together, keep their sign. Negative 12. Now I've got 6 times x, divide by 6, divide by 6. These cancel out. X equals negative 2. Negative divided by a positive gets you a negative, and then 12 divided by 6 gets you 2. Okay, check your answer, plug it back into the original problem to check to see if it's good. Yeah. All right, so they're going to do that to you. So you're going to have variables on both sides, and what your work is going to look like is this. So here, we just did algebra tiles yesterday. So we're still interpreting these algebra tiles. But now look at this. The model below represents an equation. So it says, write an equation to represent this situation. So first thing we got to do is write an equation. But then we have to solve the equation and write your answer as a fraction or a decimal rounded to the nearest hundredth if necessary. So now be careful with these because you might have a fraction, you might have a decimal. Pay attention to it, all right? So it depends on what they give you. Now, here we need to write the equation because that's really the first thing you have to do. You have to be able to write your equation off of these things. So you have this side set equal to this side. Remember that the reds are negatives. So negative x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 6x. And write this stuff down. 2, 4, 6. Plus 6. Remember, yellows and greens are positive. So plus 6 equals, okay, your equal sign, we're dealing with an equation, 2x, 2, 4, 5, plus 5. All right, so there's our equation. So we know this is our equation. So we're going to take this and we're going to plug it into here. Negative 6x plus 6 equals 2x plus 5. So that should be the first part. All right, so green there, we're good there. Now we're going to come down here and solve it. So now we're just going to solve it. So what we have to do is get all our variables on one side and everything else on the other side. So draw our line. Got 2x minus 2x. And this is exactly what we did over there. So all we're doing is taking the two things that we've already learned. We learned yesterday, what we learned today, how to solve equations, and we're putting it all together. Okay, so negative 2x, or plus negative 2x, I like that better. Okay, these cancel out. All I have left over here is 5 Over here, I have negative 6x plus negative 2x gets me negative 8x plus 6. So far, so good. Okay. So now, here's my variable. I want to deal with this. Plus a negative 6. Plus a negative 6. This should be equal to. Okay. So these cancel out, and I get negative 8x equals 5 plus a negative 6 gets me negative 1. Now I'm going to divide by negative 8, because I'm multiplying by negative 8 here, so I'm going to divide by negative 8. Divide by negative 8, divide by negative 8. These cancel out and give me x equals, now look at this, I got a negative 1 over a negative 8. Remember I talked about this before, negative over a negative, those two things cancel out, and what I really get is 1/8. And it said it would take a fraction. Write your answer as a fraction. So if you get to here, it should take that. So we're going to plug that in. Yeah, in there. We're good. All right. Guys, I wouldn't try to round this. If it's going to take the fraction, plug the fraction in there. Make sure you reduce your fraction, though. If you don't reduce your fraction, this thing won't take it. So make sure you do that. Now, here, again, it's just about setting this up correctly. You have to set them up correctly, otherwise you're going to have issues. All right, so let's set this up again. All right, the model below represents an equation. I got negative 2x on one side equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7x on this side minus, because I know these are all negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4, minus 4, or plus negative 4. Works the same way either way. Now this one doesn't look near as bad as that last one. We're going to plug this in. Should take either one of these, so let's check to see if it will. Negative 2x equals 7x plus a negative 4. Make sure I got that correct. 7x plus negative 4. So it should take that. Yeah, and it did. But it did take either one of there. Okay? So we should be good there. Now all we got to do is solve it. All right? Draw your line. And again, we want the variables all together. And again, I keep moving them to the left-hand side. It just makes it a little bit more comfortable for me. So that's what I do. Plus negative 7x. Here goes over here. So these cancel out. And all I have left is, sides are the same and I'm adding them. I've got negative 9x equals negative 4. Now from here, divide by 9, divide by negative 9. These two cancel out. And I have x equals 4 over 9, and that is reduced. Because there's not much to this. We should be able to do this. Hardest part is this, combining your like terms and going through that, and then it's solving your equations just like we've been doing for a couple of days now. I'll plug this in, but I think we should be good. Yeah, all right. That's pretty much all there is to this. There's variables, both sides, what we're dealing with, along with some algebra tiles thrown in there. Make sure you get your equation correct. Take this, if you got the good calculator, you can actually take this and plug it in there and check it. You can do it without it, but fractions and decimals are going to be kind of ugly plugging them back in. But if you got the good calculator, I strongly suggest you do that because you can do it. All right, guys, that's all there is to it. If you need any help, let me know.